What are things you can do now? Well, you can actually start developing areas of academic interest and sort of professional interest. A lot of people here go to the economics and business school. I assume that in some degree, are you interested in business or in economics? Yeah, some people probably are. There's all this. I saw some other specialized high schools here. You go to specialized high school? No? You? No? When do you go to specialized high school? Which one do you go to? Oh, so you're interested in science. And you were interested in a career in sciences? Okay, so obviously there are schools with lots of different interests and specializations. Not every school has really strong in every certain things. At Wharton, for instance, we're very strong in business. But the University of Pennsylvania, we're also very strong in math and sciences. Places where we might not have been as strong are probably in the liberal arts. So maybe the English department was not as strong as the business department. So not every school is good at every single thing. Okay, so when you start thinking about things and what you want to do, okay, and what your areas of academic interest are, start thinking about there. There are lots of different schools. Not every school has every single major. Not every school has a lot of people who sort of go into certain areas like business or medicine or law or journalism, okay? So really, just start thinking about things early on as possible, things that you might want to do with your career or things that you might want to be interested in. The next thing you want to do is to sort of match your credentials with sort of where the school is, okay? That means if a school is extremely competitive and you may not be the strongest student right now, or you may have had a bad year, or if the average GPA for a student coming in is like a 96 or 97, and you have a GPA of around a 3.2 or sort of like an 87, okay? There's a gap there, okay? And it's sort of, are you really sort of shooting for the right level of school? Everybody wants to make the most of their time and make the most of their energy and most of their investment, okay? But applying to school is applying to college is a very, very stressful thing. It's extremely stressful. It's extremely stressful for you. It's stressful for your parents. It's stressful for everybody around you. So you want to make sure that you're really shooting realistically. So it doesn't mean not to sort of if you have a dream school to give up on it. What it means is to be very realistic. Look at what your credentials are, and particularly in terms of your SATs and your grades. Those are the two most important factors when we assess a candidacy file, okay? Look at those versus the average applicant pool, okay? And I really want to emphasize is sort of look at the acceptance rates. They're really, really critical, okay? If a school has a 7% acceptance rate or a 10% acceptance rate, you should not just apply to one school, okay? On average, most people apply to 6 or 7 schools, okay? They choose, and in this huge universe of universities, down to 6 or 7 from which they really want to go. There's a number of criteria which you could look at from that: location, academic focus, it's a large campus, a small campus, a whole lot of different things. So they have sort of tie-in programs. They have like a 6-year pre-med program. They have a law school there. Is it a rural campus versus a suburban campus or an urban campus? There are lots of different things. A lot of different things are very different to a lot of different people. So you really have to sort of make those criteria. For me, I would not like to go to school in the country. I don't like being in the middle of nowhere. It actually makes me nervous, okay? I like being in urban environments, okay? And that's when it was very important for me when I chose to look at school. So really be honest with yourself. I really want to emphasize, though, when you look at the acceptance rate, realize that that's a general acceptance rate, okay? For different candidates and different classes of candidates, it's either easier or harder to get in, okay? I really want to emphasize that. That's a general acceptance rate. That's mean for all the candidates who are applying. So if you're applying to a school in New York that's competitive and you're from New York, there'll probably be more candidates from New York applying to that school. So chances are that the acceptance rate from your school or for your type of candidate is actually lower than what's accepted. If you're applying to a school, say in Oklahoma, okay, and you're probably the only candidate from New York, chances are that the acceptance rate for people interested in that school in Oklahoma are probably going to be a little bit higher. So but look into the numbers. Just don't look at the numbers. Really look into what goes into the numbers, okay? And do some self-analysis saying, man, a 7 or 10% or a 20% or a 30% acceptance rate for me may not be applicable. It could either be a 10%. If it's a 30% acceptance rate, for me, in my type of candidates, it could be a 10% acceptance rate or it could be a 50% acceptance rate. So really keep that in mind and talk to sort of people, a little sort of like your mentors or people in this program who have been to the program, who might know about a particular school and say, oh yes, they like candidates like you, or they don't like candidates like you, or it's particularly hard for candidates like you to get into school.